Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm David Sutcliffe. For those who don't know, I'm a former actor, and now I'm a core energetics practitioner, which is a somatic psychotherapy. And I'm here with, I want to call you Dr. Danny Morel. You're not a doctor, but you have that aura, Danny Morel. How do you describe yourself?
Me.
You.
I'm just me. Yeah.
What do you think about yourself? Because you have Awaken to your higher self.
Yeah.
Is your brand
That's the event. Yeah.
and how do you, are you a motivational? Are you a healer? How do you think of yourself?
I know this is gonna sound terrible, but as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like when we get caught up in titles and in names, it's like another way in which the ego tries to separate us from everybody else, And I literally think as me trying to show everyone how to get back to them. That's it.
It's just your wisdom is coming out of you all the time. I mean, I found you on Instagram and I was like, who is this guy? You just say it all so perfectly, like this things that I think a lot of us think about or we've heard before, but there's a way that you articulate them so clearly and so simply so that they can be heard. It feels like you have a real gift for that. When did this start? When did you become aware that you had, well, I don't know, some kind of spiritual wisdom?
I think I've always had a knack for communicating,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of like look back on the journey and tell that at some point in time you were going to get here, type of deal. And I feel like everybody can kind of like look back, and all of the trials and tribulations leads you to where you are, type of deal. I can remember I was running my first real estate office, and we had a little team of like 7 people, and I made them all just like sit in their chairs and listen to me talk. And then I was like, how'd I do? But back then it was literally all about, my need for approval, my need for attention, my need for validation. I wasn't aware of it back then, but that's what I was trying to do. And so I built this event called Relentless, because I was, relentless. I was in that grind energy, and I wanted to show everyone how to be relentless. And um, again, as a result of that need for validation and approval, we would bring celebrities to the event, so I could feel good that I had the biggest celebrity at my event. Again, I wasn't aware of it back then, but everything changed. My last guest at the last Relentless was Kobe, right before he passed away.
Wow.
It was literally 6 months before he passed away. And there was something about him, because the year before we had A-Rod, Alex, the baseball player. And A-Rod is wonderful and everything, but he was rough. He was very, I'm a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I thought like, Kobe's going to be probably 10 times worse, because Kobe's the man, right? And I was really excited about it. And when I met him, I'll never forget this. We walk into this room, and he these doors open, and it's like the silhouette like of light, and you see him walk in, and I'm there, my brother's there, my little son is there, and he just walks in and he goes, "What's up, man? I'm Kobe." I was like, "Oh, this dude is cool." So it was just really nice, and I just loved his humility. Well, when he passed away, COVID hit, and that's when I started my spiritual journey. And I just thought to myself, like, when you really understand life and you really understand you and the present of the now, there is nothing to be relentless about. So
Mm-hmm.
one of my values is being authentic. I no longer felt authentic trying to tell or help people be something that I now knew you didn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when we turned it to Awaken. And my first thought, yeah, I'm a little crazy. The first time I did ayahuasca, I thought everyone has to do this. Like the whole planet has to do this, right? And then and I'm rambling now, but my root chakra hadn't opened yet. So I was I was off the wall. And when I mean, I would go on Facebook lives, I would tell everybody, you got to do this. And people thought I was nuts, you know? And
This is all before you conceived Awaken.
yeah.
Yeah,
This was all before.
you're still in real estate.
Still in real estate.
The king of Rancho Cucamonga,
Southern California. Yeah. And so I started thinking, like, everyone that I would tell, I naturally am very trusting. I trust myself. I trust other people.
Where's that? Why do you trust yourself so much? Because that feels true. Where did that come from, or where does that come from?
Because if you're going to trust anyone, you got to learn to first trust yourself.
But a lot of people don't trust themselves.
I know.
And I know for me, like I don't, it's not that I don't always trust myself, but I don't always listen to that intuition. I mean, this just happened to me this past weekend where my cameras, got stolen.
Yeah.
And I had this, it hit me in the stomach. It was like a punch in the stomach because like weeks leading up, I had this intuition that something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got the news, it wasn't so much the loss of the gear. It was that I didn't listen to my intuition. Like it was painful that I didn't trust myself.
Sure.
But it does seem like you have deep faith in yourself and your intuition.
100%.
Have you always been like that?
No, I think it's like a muscle that you just gotta learn to build, and you start with little baby steps, Do
you think about things a lot, or you just like have an idea and then take action?
I don't really think or process or plan anything.
Wow.
Nothing that I have done in life. I just wake up with an idea and I go.
When did that start?
When I was 18. So we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. My mom was a single mom. I don't know if we were on welfare or just had gotten off, but there was no money. And I just remember laying in bed thinking, I got to buy us a house because my dad's not around. Like no one's like, if I don't do something, we're going to live the rest of our lives like this. And I had decided that I didn't want to live the rest of my life. So I remember in wrestling, I had put up like a goal, and it was to win like 30 matches and qualify for the CIF tournament or whatever. And sure enough, like I won the matches and I qualified. So I thought to myself, what if I applied, that same principle to buy my mom a house?
Mm-hmm.
And then my ego kicked in, and my ego says, but nobody in your family owns a house. As a matter of fact, there was one aunt that owns a house, and she's the evil one because she has money, right? So, everybody else made her out to be the bad one, right? And I thought, but like, I want a house. Like, we deserve a house. I don't want to live in this neighborhood like this anymore. And so I said, okay, I'm going to buy my mom a house by the time I'm 21 years old. And I'm going to do it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. And sure enough, next thing you know, I bumped into a real estate agent. By the time I'm 21, I bought her a house. And so you just start like taking action like that today, like true story. And Casper is here and my team, I drive them crazy. But we'll have Awaken. There'll be 800 or 900 people in the audience. And I don't prepare not even a second. I show up 20 minutes before. They give me the mic. I walk on. I go, all right, you guys ready? And we just start. That's it. Yeah. You just hone that muscle.
It's a muscle that you've practiced that. I mean, you're talking about being in the real estate office and you're sitting in front of your 7 people and you're talking, you're practicing.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point you must have got feedback like, hey, you're good at this. Because we were talking about my interview with Andrew Tate, and I was saying, like, sitting across from him and listening to him speak and how articulate he is and the way the ideas come. And you were like, kind of like, I can go head to head with him. Like, there's some way that like you have that skill.
Sure,
like it's a real skill that you have.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you had that? Because I think it may be, I mean, there's a lot of skills that are important, but communicating ideas in the world we live in right now seems very important.
And I appreciate that. But the truth is that we all are wonderful at something. We all have the special ability to do something.
Right.
We're just afraid to go on the journey of discovering exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the world is set up so that you prioritize or you put more value on certain people because of their skills. And I don't think that that's very fair, because there's people who can make a wonderful meal. And I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that have beautiful design. Like, look at this place. Like, I was like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, how do you pick the plants? How do you pick the carpet?
Right.
So these are all beautiful skills that I think that we as human beings have. And then when you start the spiritual journey, it's like you tap into your gifting. And what happens, what I have found happening is that you take that skill that you're good at in the 3D world,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like somehow correlates to a gift that you can tap into to help the rest of humanity, which I think is really beautiful about life.
That's how you're oriented, like to use the gift that you have to help humanity.
For sure.
When did you have that realization or make that decision that that's what you were going to do with your gifts?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think that the outside world is a direct reflection of the inside world.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you have in life on the outside, it's somehow showing you what's going on the inside. I really feel like because I trusted myself, people trusted me.
Uh-huh.
Like, because I trusted my vision, people would gravitate towards my vision as well.
Yes.
And so, I started to see that. And I started to see that. And then as I started to heal and I started to deal with my wounds with my mother, with my father, with women, with food, with everything, right? I started to think to myself, oh my God, like, if this is all the stuff that I had to heal, like, imagine humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's 8 billion people out there. And no one had ever even told me at that time that this was even a thing. Like, and so I thought, my God, like, I got to find a way to help people,
Uh-huh.
And so it started with, on my birthday, I would gather 20 to 30 friends and we would do a mushroom ceremony at the house. That's how it started, right? And I did that for a couple of years in a row. And I go, no, there's just more people. And that turned into Awaken.
And that all happened. That's like fairly recently.
Yeah. Within the last
Like,
5 years, 4 years. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you've built it up very quickly.
Yeah. Because the idea and the premise was there's a lot that we have to heal. There's a lot of limitations that we have on our lives that we even think of as our personalities, that were all shaped as a result of what happened in those first 7 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with mom, what happened with dad. And
what happened with mom and dad?
Mine?
Yeah.
So if I look back, I really believe my mom had a soul contract with me. Like, the way I like to think of it is, we were up there and we both planned, and we were like, okay, you're going to go down first. And your mom is going to die. My mom's mom died 13 days prior to, after her being born.
Wow.
So my mom never had, I like to think of it as the energy of love,
Mm-hmm.
like maternal love in her life. She never felt it. She always felt disconnected. She always felt like something wasn't right. And even, as my mom, I could always tell her, she was always like, I'd see moments of like joy and happiness, but there was always something off, And
she grew up in Ecuador, and
she grew up in Ecuador. And then my grandfather, when she was 8 years old, showed up and said, that's not your grandmother, that's your aunt. So you can imagine that.
Oh my God.
And I'm your dad and I'm taking you with me. So imagine that at 8 years old. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So anyhow, my dad went through the same thing, because my dad's dad basically disowned him. So I had a mom who didn't have the feminine energy of love in her life. And then I had a dad whose masculine was all jacked up, right? So when you hear me talk about masculine and feminine, like, I just started seeing it in my own life. And again, I started thinking, oh my God, I got to talk about this stuff, right? And so both of them came together. And for me, what happened is the way that I can explain it was none of them really, I knew they loved me, but they didn't know how to like show me love.
Mm-hmm.
Like saying I love you wasn't a thing, right?
Really?
No, 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 no. No, it wasn't a thing. Um, and so as a result of that, I started looking for love outside of myself,
Uh-huh.
you know. Eh, I can remember being 14 wanting to get married.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I want to get married. I want to find the one. Where is she? Where is she? I want to have kids. I want to It was like this like story that just kept playing in
Mm-hmm.
my head over
Mm-hmm.
and over. And I want to be rich and I want to be famous. And if you think about it, it was all about like I want to find love.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I became an actor. I
Yeah.
didn't realize
Yeah,
that at
yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was looking, I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be known in the way
Yeah.
that I didn't feel I was loved and seen as a child. And then I, of course I got it and nothing changed. I felt the same inside. And that's when my spiritual journey started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I relate to that.
And that's what happened to me. Like I had built the business up to such a high level and I got there and then my mom passed away. She passed away of cancer, lung cancer. Um, Never smoked a day in her life, which I later started to correlate. You know, we hold grief in our lungs,
Interesting.
which was
Yeah.
she was holding it since she was a little girl. And so the motivation, the real motivation, if I'm honest, to like help heal or help the process of healing for people is because if I would have known what I know now, I would have been able to help my mom, essentially, you know.
Interesting.
But it all works perfectly because I
Hmm.
wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the fact that she went through that. So
Your parents split when you were 9?
13.
Oh, 13.
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like you had a good relationship with your mother. You guys were
Yeah. Yeah.
close.
It became more of like some weird husband mom dynamic
Uh-huh.
where like, you know, I was raising my brothers. I was
You were the
really
man of the
responsible.
house.
I was the man of the house. True story. We grew up in New York. So you take subways or taxis or whatever. She didn't know how to drive. So we moved to California. And at 13, I was the one who learned how to drive illegally.
Wow.
And I was driving us around because she was too nervous.
Did that impact your relationships with women? This dynamic that you had with your mother, feeling like you had to take care of her?
Yeah, because I was always trying to save everybody.
Uh,
I was always trying to like forever, because my mom was a single mom.
yeah.
Forever I dated only single moms.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You wanted to save them.
Yeah.
Because I guess if the belief unconsciously is that if you save them, then you can be loved. You're of value.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like this. There was so much unnecessary baggage, drama, energy, restlessness. I wasn't at peace.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was. I was so busy trying to chase something outside of myself
Yeah.
that I never gave myself the time nor the decency to be honest with myself about what I really wanted.
I want to ask you about your father, but did you have a rock bottom moment? I mean, you build up this huge real estate company and you start to realize that it's not making you happy. There's an emptiness there.
Yeah.
What happened that caused you to make this transition? Was there a moment?
So my mom passed away. And in that moment, she passed away in a way where I was there basically holding her. I saw her take her
In
last
her arm?
breath.
She died in your arms.
I wasn't, her head wasn't here, but I was,
Wow.
yeah. And I look up and yeah, yeah, yeah. The most interesting thing and the thing that hurt me the most, um, which is where sometimes I get a little passionate about the conversation of religion, but I don't want to do that here right now. I'm going to avoid that subject. Um, was that my mom was so faithful that, like, I remember the pastor praying for her, and she literally believed that, like, God was going to come heal her till the very last breath, because like a minute before she passed away, I remember the pastor was leading her in a prayer, and then he said, and everyone had said, and my mom couldn't talk. At that point she couldn't talk, and I remember her saying amen, and then like a minute later she's gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So to me, that angered me. That was my rock bottom.
It angered you. Why exactly?
It angered me because I saw her have so much faith, but what she had faith in didn't come true.
Uh-huh.
And I saw her wither away.
Who are you angry at?
I was angry at God
At
for
God
a long
for a
time.
long
For a
time.
very long time. Yeah. Now we're homies. We're cool. We're cool now. It's all good now. Yeah.
I love that because I bring that up a lot when I'm working with people, and I ask them that question: "You angry at God?" And no, I'm not. I'm not angry at God, but if you're
No, no,
angry at
no.
life, you're angry at
If you're
God.
angry at
Yeah,
life, you're angry at God. If
yeah,
you're angry at life and God, you're angry at yourself.
that's right.
People don't want to think about it like that,
Yeah,
but it's it's all one. It's all
right.
one.
So you're angry at God. You're in some sense in opposition to life,
Yeah.
right? You're resentful.
Resentful. So then I started asking myself some really tough questions. Are you happy? Are
And
you
at this,
happy?
you got lots of money. You're
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
Nice car, watch.
Yeah.
The whole
Big house, the
you're
whole
set
thing.
up.
Everything is good.
Right.
Yeah. I'm that guy that everybody comes over to his house. I feed everybody. They all mooch off me.
Yeah.
You don't ever invite me to your house, but you somehow every weekend show up at my house.
Right.
I just take care of everybody. It's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But deep inside, like, if I can be honest, another reason why I talk about masculine, feminine energy was because I was, I was a little bitch in my relationship.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
So I was, because I didn't know who I was,
Uh-huh.
and because I wasn't connected to real love within myself, and because I was looking for love outside of myself, I was afraid.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is that that is the essence of the energy of fear. The energy of fear is separation.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't ever become whole until we finally realize, by the way, not because this is going to click in your mind, this has to click in your cells and the fiber of your being, that everything you've been looking for, you have. I didn't know that back then, though. So I was in this position where I was in this marriage. I was married for 13 years, and my ex-wife, was a little rough around the edges.
I mean, bossing you around.
It was worse than that. It was like, those kind of people that when you start a conversation with them, if you say one wrong word,
Uh-huh.
one take it one, and an argument starts,
Yeah.
and there is no way out of that argument, and you're backed up against a wall, and either you're going to just say I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
or
It's gonna get ugly.
it's going to get ugly. And then,
Yeah.
so for me, it was like, but for the sake of the kids, and well, 13 years after of that, like, eventually you're going to explode.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do not blame her. That is 100% my fault.
Right.
Because I didn't have the courage to speak up, to articulate what I was feeling. To be fair, I
Did
don't
you know what you were feeling?
No. I didn't.
You probably had no
I
awareness.
had no awareness of anything. But what I did know was that at the time, I was in relationship with someone that didn't have the ability to listen or articulate back to me,
Uh-huh.
accept responsibility, like basic
Yeah.
relationship 101, essentially. We talked about this
Yes.
the other day in our conversation. So the rock bottom for me was the following. I was the good guy. I was the guy that,
Yeah.
all of the wives would send their husbands to Mexico for the bachelor party only if they knew I was going, because
Wow.
they knew, like, as if it was my responsibility, that if I was going, they would be good.
Yeah.
Like, I was that guy. I was the church boy, like, on the outside, I was Mr. Perfect. But on the
Wow.
inside, man, I was unhappy and stuff started to happen. And sure enough, I had an affair.
Right.
That's when I hit my rock bottom.
Uh-huh.
And I say that's my rock bottom because I grew up with a grandfather who was a womanizer.
Mm-hmm.
He had, I think it's 15 different children from like 10 different women,
Wow.
and some of them like all at the same time. So I, if I'm honest, despised that in him. And I told myself I would never do that. And that was my rock bottom,
Did you
essentially.
feel shame about it?
Oh, big time.
Because it really confronted your idealized self-image about being this good, perfect guy.
What it did was, like, the glass house started to like crumble.
Right.
This perfect little image that you've been trying so hard to build so that people like you, like, there was a little chip in it, and
Uh-huh.
then forget about it. Everything started to fall apart.
How did yes, you had shame.
Yeah.
When did you cop to it?
At first I didn't.
Uh-huh.
No, because no one ever like found out.
Uh-huh.
But energy, you just, you feel things.
Did you enjoy it?
If I'm honest, it was the most free I had ever felt at
Int-
that time in my life.
Interesting.
Yeah, I felt like I was living life in a cage, and I felt like I was finally, like, it was this battle because, like, on one end, now I'm a sinner and I'm going to go to hell, right? And then on the other end, like, I finally listened to my instincts, like what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
you know? So it was this battle of like, but wait a minute, but right and wrong, but like, like church and society says this, but like I feel this, but like, well, how can this be wrong if I feel it? And
Right.
that's really where the journey began for me.
So I from that place, I'm assuming you don't really regret it.
It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
It was like the key that like unlocked the lion, basically.
Mhm.
And like it drove me to my knees because I obviously caused my family hurt, which I did not want to do. And I had nowhere to go because I was mad at God because my mom had passed away. So I was going nowhere really fast. And that's when I turned to ayahuasca. That's when I turned to plant medicine,
That
basically.
was the first step you took.
That was it.
What
Yeah.
why ayahuasca? What did you hear about ayahuasca? What was the connection for you?
The connection for me was that for 10 years prior to me sitting with ayahuasca, I was that guy that said, if you do that, you're going to hell. Like, that is the
You'd heard
devil.
about it and friends were doing it and you
No. Because they say that that's bad, so it's bad. And
wow.
I'm with them, and you're going to hell if you do that. So that's all ego,
Yeah.
and that's all, truly, it's all fear, right?
Yes.
I like to think of it as like skydiving. Like, until you go skydiving, shut up,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
can't say anything about it,
Yeah.
right?
It's yeah.
So like Casper went skydiving, my buddy, a couple of my friends. You should go. You should go. You do what you want to do, but I don't feel called for that,
Yeah.
right? But some people, what they do is they go, no, skydiving is stupid. It's the worst thing you could ever do. But you've never tried it.
Yeah.
That's your ego.
Yeah.
That's your ego trying to defend the construct that you have created in your mind that is truly based on fear, quite frankly.
Fear. Yeah. Yeah. What I mean, it's a broad question. Maybe we should start. What you did you want your first ceremony?
Yeah,
And
I went for a week.
you went for a week.
Yeah, again, I just go all in. Yeah, I just went for a week, 3 ceremonies, and
Wow.
yeah.
And what happened? What did you learn? What did you take away from that?
So the first ceremony was the scariest moment of my entire life.
Uh-huh.
The first thing that happened to me was, um my ego was so big back then that I go up to the shaman, I go up to the altar, I take a cup, And I sit there for like an hour and a half.
Where is this? Where did
Costa Rica.
you're okay?
And I'm not feeling anything. And I'm looking around, and all these people are like moaning and groaning, and like they're tossing and turning, and I'm sitting there like, this stuff is nothing. Like, this is, come on, right? So then, this is my ego, right? It is so perfect, by the way it happens, because like she was like, okay, you watch, I'm gonna humble your ass right now. So then, sure enough, I go up, and the shaman says, who'd like a second cup? And I'm literally the first one there. I'm walking up, right? And he goes, how much do you want? I go, just whatever, because this stuff doesn't work. Like I didn't say those words, but I like that energy. That energy is what was, And he goes, okay, and he gave me, and so then I sit down, and I'll never forget this. The moment that my ass hits the ground, I think, oh shit, I better lay down. And so I lay down, and I put my hands right here on my heart, and all of a sudden my arms like start flapping. And this is not me, it's my arms, right? And I'm like, what in the world is happening? And so then I close my eyes, and again, David, I was that guy that I used to go to church, and I always used to pray really hard, because people, you see, I hear God's voice, and I'd be like, I want to hear, like, well, I don't hear anything, but I want to hear something, And it was the first time in my life that I had ever heard anything as clear as can be. She told me in Spanish, she told me, my son, I'm about to transform your life the same way that a butterfly is transformed. And my arms are flapping, and all of a sudden, like, I see the cocoon like open, and I fly out like a little butterfly, basically.
Wow.
And that was my journey. So if you see our logo now at Awaken or anything, it's that little
butterfly.
It's just a story of transformation.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow, that first ceremony, scariest moment of my life.
That was scary?
No, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the scary part?
The scary part was when I looked over to the left and I saw a skull. And I looked over to the right and I saw another skull. And essentially what happened was I was convinced that I had been led to some sort of like a cult, and I was about to die.
Yeah, I've been there.
You've been there? Yeah. So, but I'm smart. So I devised a plan. My plan was that if I drink enough water, I can get this stuff out of me, and then I could hop on a plane and fly back home. So that was my plan.
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever done Aya, you know that the more water you drink, the more that you purge.
Yeah.
She was essentially getting me to purge all of this crap outside of myself.
Right.
And I literally ran. True story. Middle of ceremony, I ran out. Yeah. They had to come find me. I'm in the kitchen because I had heard that like limes cut it. So I was like looking for limes, and I'm tripping balls, by the way, and drinking water and throwing up all at the same time.
You want out of the experience. It's so overwhelming. It's so intense.
Yeah. I was out of control.
Well,
remember the glass house?
Yes.
The perfect little picture. It was all about me controlling the narrative, essentially. Right?
Yeah.
And so I had to come face to face with that, basically. And finally, my buddy Barry calls me in, and I'm like, that's it. It's over. I'm never going to see my kids again. And I'm like mourning, basically. And I lay down, and I basically just put like the blanket over my head. And I saw the newspaper clipping, like, Danny Morel dies in like cult-like setting in Costa Rica. And I'm like, you idiot. What did you do? What did you do? And next thing, the shaman goes, that concludes the first ceremony. And I literally go like this, like, and then like, people start walking by, and I'm like, psst, we're not going to die. And they're like, no.
Well, I guess a part of you did die, though.
You see, I have probably had, no lie, 1,000 deaths since then.
Right.
I just didn't know. Like, now I know when one is about to hit. So I can breathe through it, and I could let it pass. But that was my first ever, call it ego death, whatever.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware. Yeah. And then by the third ceremony, I was like, give me more, give me more. It was the greatest experience of my life. And yeah.
Being out of control. That's why I got so scared the first time I drank. Well, not the first, every time,
Every time, yeah.
was that feeling of this thing has a hold of me and I have to let go of control. I
You
have to surrender. And it's just terrifying. How is that for you? Because like what is that balance that you have between, I mean, obviously there's a way that it seems like you have, or at least from the outside looking in, you have control over your life to a degree, and yet you have to let go of control, and it's a hard thing to navigate. I mean, I'm always trying to ride that line. How do you think about that?
Two ways. First, the greatest advice that I can give anyone is that life is a white canvas, and God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, is trying to show you that you have the opportunity to paint on that canvas whatever painting you want, whatever partner you want, whatever money you want, whatever business you want, whatever life you want, whatever house you want, whatever impact you want, however you want to help others. There is literally nothing or no one stopping you.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is
How
that
do you know that? How, well, like,
because you know it.
you know that.
Well,
Not everybody knows that.
No,
though.
that's what I was about to say. The problem is that when your dad tells you, shut up, don't you talk when I'm talking. When your mom's not around because she's busy working, when your parents, who are supposed to be the epitome of love, spank you and hit you, when you get bullied at school, when all of these things happens, you forget. When you get cheated on, when someone mistreats you, when your parents give, you know, the youngest child the most attention, all of these things are ways in which we quickly discover, like, whoa, number one, it's not safe to be me, and number two, I don't know that this is the most loving place out there.
Mm.
So we get disconnected from the essence of who we really are, right?
Yeah.
And in many ways, I can tell you that I know because that's what I wanted to know. When I journeyed, I said,
Uh-huh.
I want to know. I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. What's God? How does life work? I want to know, like, when I used to think about things and it would manifest, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And so every journey was about, for me, and then life becomes a journey, just removing anything within me that would cause me to not understand how powerful I am, we are, and how beautiful this life is.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you just decide.
You decide.
You decide what you
And
want.
and do you have a practice that allows you to remember that? Because there's so many things in life that can pull you back into the Maya, back into the illusion, back into the lie, back into the fear.
Yeah, you
and
ready?
I find for me, yeah, please.
I get rid of all those things.
You don't, the news.
I don't watch the news. I don't hang out with people that this is
So
why
you just stay in the pocket of it
I just
24/7.
stay in me and love.
That's
and
so
it.
inspiring.
And this is what, but this is why I told you, this is a true story. David was at my house this week, and there's very few people, we have a podcast, and there's very few people that we invite back, because like, even I say this, with love, but even in like this, like, spiritual community, people aren't what you think they are. Like, it's so then when I told you, it's like, what I love about you, what I love about him is you don't need anything from me. Do you know how many people need something from me because they see that I have followers, or because they see that I have an event, and you could feel that energy from a mile away? And to me, it's like, I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, could you just please be you? But people,
Yeah.
but also I need it too.
Yes.
So I understand it.
Yeah.
But as a result, I stay away from any energy, any frequency that would, I just love myself, and I
Yeah.
protect myself in that way.
What is your relationship to your own needs? Because I struggle with my needs, and Diana's here, and she'll tell you that, like, particularly early in the relationship, it was really hard for me to ask for what I needed. And I would expect her to just know. And she would say, well, you could just ask me,
Yeah,
which was, annoyingly reasonable
sure.
because it was terrifying. I
Of
had a lot of
course.
shame about my needs. And I guess, I don't know, how are you with your needs, asking for what you need? Because even, when my camera equipment got stolen, I had to reach out to you and
Yeah.
ask for help. And I felt the edge of that. Like, I don't want to need help.
Ah.
I don't want to have to ask for help. And I don't know, do you have any of that? Because you did say something in our conversation, that you were, we were talking about women and choosing the one that there was some confusion that you had a little crisis, and you don't usually like to reach out and ask for help, but you did in this case. Do you ask for help? Do you ask for what you need in a vulnerable way?
So I think there's two parts to that.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, there's like the business side. And so I want to speak to that because I think that this is where we as human beings tend to like collude things a little bit. And as a result, we hold ourselves back, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I think I would hope that this would be of help to people. Um, I met a man, his name was Dr. Meltzer. Dr. Meltzer changed my life. He changed my life because at the time I was like 50 pounds overweight. I was working 6 days a week. I was doing well in business, but I was miserable. And Dr. Meltzer's like 80 years old at the time. He like goes and runs in the ocean and he has his mornings off. He'll show up to the office from like 11 to 2 and then he'll go like smoke weed in the afternoon or something. He was just like that kind of guy. He was so cool, right? And I was like, well, how do you do that? And he said, Chief, he said, it's very simple. He said, you could either have a work style or a lifestyle. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And he said, the thing is that very few people actually have a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, well, I want to have a lifestyle. He goes, okay, then you gotta follow the golden rule. And there's two of them. And I go, okay. And so I'm like writing notes, right? And I'm writing notes. He goes, number one, he says, you can make as much money in the world as you want. Just don't work more than 20 hours a week to make it. Now, listen, at that time in my life, I was like, what the hell is he talking? Like, how? Because it seemed so far fetched for me
Yeah.
because I had literally built my business knocking on doors, talking to people, working extremely hard. You know, you look on social media, everybody tells you got to work hard for what you want. And I'm not saying that working hard is bad. What I'm saying is that Dr. Meltzer helped me to see a different way. And he also taught me that all I needed to do was desire that to be my life. And it's okay if you don't, because there's a lot of people that like, they just like love being busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more and more that I got out of here and the more and more that I returned here, which I like to think of it as the masculine and the feminine,
Mm-hmm.
right? The feminine like likes to just like chill. It's the feminine in all of us. Just like to chill on the couch and relax and maybe watch some TV and be around family, you know? The more and more I started to be honest with myself and my needs, the more and more I started to ask myself, what do you really want? And what kept coming to me was, I want to live life on my terms.
Mm-hmm.
So then I asked, well, what does that look like? Right. And and then I just described what that looked like. And then the second thing that Dr. Meltzer told me, he said, only do what only you can do. So only I can run the calls. Only I can get on stage at Awaken.
Yeah.
But everything else can be delegated. And so when you say, do I ask for help? I don't ask for help. I demand it on the business side of
I
things.
understand.
I literally do not do anything. I don't,
You
I
just
don't,
show
I don't,
up
I don't
and
make my bed. I don't I don't do my laundry.
Yeah.
I don't check my email. I don't do
You don't check
anything.
your email?
No, why would I? No, it's terrible. No.
Um,
I don't manage my calendar. I just show up and I do what only I can do. But listen, guys, that takes courage. Think about that. That takes courage. But it goes back to that challenge he gave me. It's like, which one do you want? So my brain goes, lifestyle. He goes, okay, well then, so then you get to go, that's the journey you get to go on, and you get to go in and face and just start asking yourself these questions like, why do I have to do that?
mhm.
Right? Like, could somebody else do that for me? And at first it's scary because then it's like, well, I'm gonna have to hire somebody. I'm gonna have to pay somebody. I'm gonna have to.
Right.
That's your ego. That's fear. That's all the ways in which you stop yourself from having the life that you really want.
Yeah.
So if that is there, then the opposite is there. You just got to go on the journey to find it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just went on that journey,
Yeah.
and yeah,
That but there is it does there's a trust that you have in yourself and
for
in
sure.
life that is a gift. And I can feel, listening to you talk, like what it does to me. Like it infuses me with more courage,
I, I
and I can
appreciate that.
see why you have 800 people coming to your events. Like there's something that you're radiating that feels true.
Yeah. On the personal side,
Yeah.
especially like with women,
Yes.
right? Like Jen has changed my life in that
How?
regard because I didn't know how to be honest with what I was feeling. Because in my previous relationship, again, I can't blame it was me.
Yeah.
I wasn't free to express what I was feeling because there was no space for what I was feeling.
Uh-huh.
There was no space to even be heard.
Right.
And then if I ever did express it, there was no space for acknowledgement or validation or the attempt to accept personal responsibility for your role in the way that I was feeling.
Right. And I
Because relationships are co-created,
yes.
So that took me a lot of work, and Jen gave me the safe space because she is she just says it. She has zero filter. Maybe she's because she's British, I don't know, but that woman has zero filter. She just says whatever is on her mind,
And
and
that
we deal with it.
right, and that opened you up to say what was on your
Yeah,
mind. Right, which
yeah.
must have been scary at
Scary as
first.
fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it felt on some level wrong.
yeah. It
Right.
wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how to be that version of me.
Well, and I can imagine if your parents split when you were young and then you're taking care of your mother, you'd have to deny your own needs to some degree in
Yeah.
order to take care of her, and your father's not around to take care
No.
of your mother, which is really his job. What is your relationship like with your father?
So we somewhat, I realized that in order for me to do the work that I needed to do, you can't help anyone else heal what you don't have the courage to heal within yourself.
Uh-huh.
So I had to deal with that. I remember being on stage, and at that time there were like 400 people in front of me doing breath work. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. And Source told me very vividly, said, you're never going to help them. You're never going to be able to help them be everything that they're intended to be if you don't become everything that you're intended to be. And my ego was like, but I am. I got to figure it out. And then we're like, deal with your father. And I literally remember saying, nope, not that one.
So this is recently,
It's 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, not that one.
And what was the relationship once they split? I mean, you moved out to California with your mother. Did your dad stay in New York?
He stayed in New York.
And
And
how often did you
then
see him?
I didn't.
You didn't.
No,
On
he's
the phone,
just,
did you talk? Was there
no. I mean, I think maybe he tried for a little bit, but then he just kind of,
he tried?
yeah.
But did you not? Were you not open to him? Were you angry? Were you resentful? Were you
No. It
hurt?
just, no, it just, he's the kind of guy. I was just in New York a week ago for Awaken.
Uh huh.
Hey, Poppy, I'm in town. Why don't you come on over and we'll hang out? No. I don't want to go over because of COVID. True story. This is what he says. This is the way he thinks.
Uh-huh.
He lives in fear.
Right.
So he's the kind of guy that like just doesn't know how to like reach out or show interest or like not even try. And I'm okay with that. Like I had to be okay with that
You're okay.
because
I'm
no
not
one
okay with that.
well, no one showed him interest, you know.
Right.
That's why I'm okay with it. He
Yeah.
doesn't know. He doesn't know how to be any other thing
But that
basically.
must be painful.
It was for a while. Yeah, it was for a while. Now I s- I s- now I see him for the little boy that wished that someone paid him the
Uh,
attention that he deserved. And I see that little boy and I understand why he doesn't know how to give it to
right.
me. So
Right.
I'm okay now.
That must have been a journey though to get there. I mean, anger, resentment,
Purging,
all
throwing
of it
up, all of
during
it.
in ceremony
Yeah, a
until
lot
you
of it.
until you got to this place of acceptance. You could see him
Yeah,
just as a person with his own issues and forgive him and not take personally, because I can imagine the boy. I mean, we want validation from our father. We want our father to be
absolutely.
proud of us, to see us,
Absolutely.
and we want to please him.
Yeah.
He
Well,
must be proud of you, though. He must be so incredibly proud of you.
I don't know that he's even aware,
He
to be honest.
he doesn't. He go check your website, look at your
I don't know that he has
Instagram,
that
and that
capacity.
like shows his friend. That's my boy.
I legit no. The answer is no.
No.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
My
I
dad is
feel
just a
sad for me. I mean, not for you. I mean, for you, but also for
for
him.
him, yeah. Yeah, for him.
Like to not know you. He's probably scared of you on some level. You're so powerful, and if he's so afraid, he probably doesn't even know what to make of you.
But David, I don't think he's scared of me. I think he's scared of himself.
What do you mean?
I think he's scared of the version of him that could open up to like love,
Right.
you know?
Yes.
Because he's like this. And I say that guys cuz if you're listening like it's I believe that the process of actualization comes face to face with any unhealed energy that you have with your mother and father. Because if you don't go there, you will always
Yeah.
have that craving, that want and that need outside of you. And I am telling you, that's going to show up in the partner that you choose.
Right.
It's going to show up in your business and your financial life. And it shows up. It's all the same thing. So I have peace in this because my dad's the kind of guy that will say, "Did you tell your brothers, that I love them?" And I was like, and I'll be like, "No, he won't use those words. Did you tell your brothers that it wasn't my fault? That it was your mom? That it was your mom that did that?" And I go, "Yes, I told. Are you sure you told?" I go, and I'll say to him, "Well, why don't you just call them?" And he'll go, "No, no, 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 no. I no, I don't." He's afraid. He's afraid of
Wow.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I haven't even told Jen this. His dream, his dream. I support him financially now,
Mm-hmm.
and his dream.
How is he with that?
I mean,
Do you talk about it? Does he say thank you?
it just auto withdrawals.
It's just there's no.
No, because David, you see, and this is you got to understand, guys. The greatest gift that a human being can give another human being,
Uh huh.
you know what that is? The gift of life. It's the gift of life.
Meaning in this case,
Meaning, I would not be here without him.
right? I see.
You
I
know.
see.
So, like, once I was able to,
You're honoring your father no matter what.
no matter what, no matter what, because I wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah. I understand.
Forget about all the, you know, all of what I wish he could have been, whatever. I'm here. I'm here because of him, you
Yes.
know? So when we were in the Dominican Republic, he told me that his dream was to just own a house with a little chicken coop. So I'm like going crazy now. Like, okay, I got to buy him a house with a little chicken coop in the
Mhm.
Dominican Republic. True story though. We're building a guest house right now and I'm putting a chicken coop back there. And like 2 weeks ago,
Oh.
he calls me. He's having a health issue. And I got this download the other night. And I'm like, shit, he's going to end up living with me
Wow.
because it's just going to be the way that I just saw I just saw
You
it.
saw it.
I saw it. Yeah. So I'm having to deal with that because that's going to bring me face to face with like caring for.
That's deep.
I know, bro. I know. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Well, I'm.
Now I have to tell Jen, so don't air this. But I have to tell
Well,
Jen.
I don't know, makes me happy for both of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's something will happen.
Something, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
What?
I don't know. Should we ask?
Oh, I was just getting started.
Oh, we're just getting started. There's more.
Whatever you want.
What time is it?
I don't know.
Oh, we got lots of time. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, so here's how I experience you.
Okay.
Like you have and I don't mean this in a, I don't know, a negative way, but
It's
just,
okay if you do.
no, I don't. Like it's, you have an answer for everything.
Yeah.
And they're very convincing answers. Like
Yeah.
they're very persuasive. Like I believe you.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, what is there? Just you can't have it all figured out.
No.
What don't you have figured out? What do you struggle with? What's hard for you? Are you lonely?
I don't have an answer for that.
Are you do you
Okay, you know what's hard for me?
Yeah.
Relationship with men. It's hard for me. That's why I like you. You're easy, you're safe. You don't need anything from me. That's why I
Yeah.
like Samson. Samson does his thing. He's safe. He's cool. That's why I like Albert. Albert's on another level. These are like,
Right.
true story.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the podcast and Casper like hands me an object. I won't say the object. And I'm like, oh, cool. What is this? This guy's coming on the show and he does this thing. Oh, cool. Okay, whatever. Um, and anyhow, I hit it off with the guy. We became buddies. Next thing you know, he has me do like a social media post with the thing, with the object. And unbeknownst to me, he was introduced to us from this guy that was on the show.
Uh-huh.
It's like one of the local Austin spiritual people.
Yeah.
And the guy hits me up and he's like, you really need to thank people when they introduce you. And if you don't, there's some universal karmic blah that you open up the portals to fucking hell or whatever. And I'm like, what? Literally, like,
Wow.
what? And I didn't respond. And I didn't respond because I knew what he wanted. He wanted my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get that.
Yeah.
And then I responded, and I shouldn't have. And I learned the lesson.
How did you respond?
I was like, listen, this seems like a you with you thing because I was unaware of any of this. So if you want to like refer people to us, thank you. But what was the purpose of you referring them? Did you need some sort of thank you? Did you need some sort of validation? Because I'm not here to give you that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my role. That's your role. And then he, assalamu alaikum. But that's my experience with a lot of men, to be honest with you.
So,
and I'll take ownership in co-creating it.
Sure.
And if you want to like dig deep, whatever, let's do it. But I'm just being honest.
Well, I mean, you don't trust men.
Yeah.
Why would you?
I trust you.
Do you?
I trust you.
You do.
I do.
Why?
100%.
Why do you trust me?
Because there's no number one, because I know you've done the work. I know you've dealt with your shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that is very rare to find amongst human beings nowadays. Like people like to do surface level, right? And like play the part. But when you say that I have an answer for everything, it's because I went in, like, and then more in. And when you go there, what you find is peace.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite of peace is like need.
Mm-hmm.
So when I feel need from people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ugh.
So okay. So that would indicate to me, like if you are put off by somebody's need, that would tell me that there's some part of your need that you repress, which is my instinct
Okay.
with you. Like if I was to really, and it would make sense. You had to repress your need in order to survive,
Yeah.
literally to take care of your
Yeah.
family. Like you're 13.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be taking care of your mother.
Yeah.
You want to be free. You want to be doing the things that you want to do. So some aspect of your freedom, of your need to be free or do what you want, be who you are, not have to. I mean, taking care of your mother at 13. I know this because I went through this.
Yeah.
It created a burden on me, and then all women represented burden because I didn't know how to have my need with women. So the my whole orientation was I have to take care of them. I have to repress my own need, which would, I'm not saying this is what happened with you, but then I would feel this resentment. And then it wasn't until Diana where she was just like, why don't you just fucking ask me?
Right. That's right.
And where I had to confront that. But because in the place where your dad wasn't around, also, like he's supposed to be taking care of that shit. He's supposed to be taking care of your mother.
I know. Yeah. But he didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah.
But it's like some sadness. Like, do you let people see your sadness? Do you let, because I can also imagine, Danny, like because you're such a high profile guy and you're like, I don't want to say that you're performing all the time because you're not. Like I
Mhm.
don't feel you as performative,
Sure.
but you're also like you are on stage a lot. You are, on Instagram, you're making videos, you're doing the thing, and you can get it. And I know that as an actor, like you get into these zones and then sometimes like, I'd be 3, 4, 5, 6 months in character, and then I come out of the character. I was like, whoa, I was somewhere,
Yeah.
and there was some other part of me that I wasn't paying attention to.
I mean, I would say
What would Jen say?
I wish she was here. I wish
What's
she was here.
her? I don't want to say her complaint, but what's like? Is she have a consistent reflection to you?
I think the consistent one with her is there's times that I check out
Uh huh.
and I can feel it now. And I'm not in my heart,
Where do you go?
in my head.
What are you thinking about?
I don't know that I'm thinking. I just want to retreat.
Uh huh.
I just want to be alone.
So there's something in the present that you don't want to deal with,
Or that I don't know how to communicate or articulate.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm honest, I feel like where I'm most vulnerable is probably like in like one to many settings, but like one to one settings, that's rough. It's rougher for
To
me.
to like, so for you and I to be vulnerable, you to be vulnerable with me in
I
a
don't
in a
know. I don't know. With you, I just, I don't know. I feel comfortable. I don't know how
you
to,
do.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But it is hard in general. You can be vulnerable in front of a crowd.
I'm just always thinking, what do they want from me?
What do they want? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess that because I asked intuitively, like, are you lonely? And I know in some way you're not lonely, but in the place where you're looking out at the world, you don't trust men because your father on some level.
Some level, sure.
And, you're looking out and what do people want from me? That just feels like a lonely place.
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have to like, it was interesting because like last night we went to our friend Britt's birthday party. And I have to talk. Have to literally like, okay, be nice to people. Come on, like hang out, get to know people. It's okay. Yeah.
do you always have to be nice? Are you always nice? What happens if you're not nice?
I didn't mean it in that way. I meant like conversate.
I understand,
Yeah,
but I'm
conversate.
just taking it there.
Okay, so ask again.
Yeah, like, do you have to be nice? Like, is there an image in your mind that like you always have to be nice? You have to be good.
I think that very much was a part of it in the past. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't. I don't. No, because I can be a real asshole
You
sometimes.
can.
Yeah.
What's that look like? When are you an asshole? How does that express itself? How does it feel to hear him say like he can be an asshole sometimes? You love it. Feels good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could be an asshole to Casper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're friends.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, so there's a shadow.
Yeah. He's another one that I trust.
Yeah.
I trust Randy. I trust.
Yeah.
There's just good humans, and it was 2 weeks ago. I had Aaron Apke on the podcast,
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
really connected. We really
He's
connected.
great.
He's wonderful, and I invited him, my buddy Shaddy. Just I feel like when people are safe and they can just be them, and I can just be me. It's like I like to take care of people. So like I brought them over to the house. I had a wonderful dinner for them, and it feels nice. It's just
But is that default? Like, is that just like the place you go? Like I take care of people? Is that a pattern?
it could be.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it
Like
could
I
be.
think it is part of
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
essence.
yeah.
I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to
no. Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
it's a mask,
Yeah,
but is there a way that that's more comfortable than
then
getting
getting that
really
is
real or
1 million
intimate?
percent, 1 million percent.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable for me to take care of people than it is for me to allow them to take care of me.
Let me take care of you. Just feel that. Just feel that. Don't try to make sense of it. Let
It
me
felt
take
kind of weird.
Yeah, but just feel that. Let me just take care of you. You don't have to
Yeah.
do anything. I got it. You don't have to do
It feels
anything.
very awkward, guys. I'm not gonna. I'm getting red here. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean though? How does that are you able to let that in? Are you able to receive that? It's like I mean it is uncomfortable.
I think that's my greatest struggle.
Mm,
Yeah.
letting people like what? How would you, what is your greatest struggle? How would you say it?
Like letting people in,
Uh-huh.
letting people take care of me.
If you let people in, if you let people take care of you,
Are you
what?
really gonna do this right now?
Yeah. What's the what's the well, let me like how is this for the audience? Like how like are you in it feels good, right?
Good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn around now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so they're with you.
All right.
They're
Let's
with
do it.
you.
Let's do it.
If what do we say? If you let people
If I
in.
let people in.
By the way, I'm exactly the same way. I know this. I have this down.
Yeah.
Um if you let people in, right? If you let others take care of you, you must have an image that something, I don't know, unpleasant is going to happen or there's something scary. Like from a young place. Obviously, it's not rational, but
I think it's I think it's if I let people take care of me, they could either be gone or let me down.
like who? Who did that? Who was gone
Like
and let you down?
my mom and dad.
Your mom and dad.
Yeah.
And yeah. Like I just feel that you had to make a decision at some point. Like I'm on my own. I got to take care of myself. Not only do I have to take care of myself, I have to take care of my family. I'm not really going to get the support, and it's a decision. Not like I mean, the ego takes hold and says like look at me. I'm 13. I'm driving my mom around. Like I'm amazing, but on a deeper level,
There were a
like
lot of needs
you're
that
just
weren't
doing
met.
it to survive.
Yeah.
You literally have to do this to survive.
Yeah.
And so if you don't do it, it's like something bad is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Jen take care of you? Do you let her?
She's wonderful.
You let her though.
Yeah, I let her.
Why? How would you feel safe with her?
Because she loves me for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She's yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, she's everything.
Yeah. But a man might be more of an edge.
The thing is that even for Jen, no, I don't think a man is more of an edge. I just think I haven't had the opportunity to heal that part of me with a man yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in relationship, you come face to face
Yeah.
with that. And it's either in hindsight, what happened, guys, was I found myself, Jen would tell me a lot of things that my ex-wife would tell me.
Uh-huh.
So then I would catch myself thinking, okay, either 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 they're crazy or you're like something's not right if you're
Yeah.
hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
So wake up, because there's got to be some truth to what she's saying about the way that she's feeling.
Which was what? Do you remember?
I mean, it's just been so much.
Mm.
Yeah, like the beautiful thing about our relationship is both of us, like, we just, I think unknowingly, it's not something we said. We were just committed to like removing all the barriers.
Is there a shadow inside you that you have to keep an eye on? Like, I mean, you said you could be an asshole, but is there anything else in there that like a little snake or a dragon that comes up once in a while that you have to be aware of? What is your shadow?
Keep asking because I don't know.
Well, okay. Um, you're a conqueror,
Okay,
right?
fair.
Fair. So
Yeah.
just yeah, let's just hang out there for a minute
Okay.
because you are actually like if you're like a badass motherfucker.
Okay.
You get shit done.
Well, yeah, it's gonna
You're
get
you're
done.
you get shit done.
Yeah.
You're super successful. You're
Yeah.
good looking. You're articulate. You're intelligent. You're rich. You're that guy, and you make it happen like that.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing.
And
That's a
there's
thing.
no way that it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, there's no way
Yeah.
it's not going to happen, and you're hungry for it. It's like you were born for it, and maybe there's some unconscious motivations from your childhood that are driving it, and fair enough, right? I,
Yeah.
I don't. That's unavoidable, but there's also something at your essence that's a conqueror, right? Like I'm going to get what I fucking want,
Yeah.
and can you feel like there's a goodness in that. I'm
Sure.
not. I don't.
Sure.
I
Sure.
love.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
World's got to have conquerors,
Yeah.
right? Um, but is there a shadow? Is there a like I don't know something else? Like I'm gonna win.
I
You know what I
think that
mean?
was there for a long time.
Mm-hmm. You
And I
guys know what
think
I'm talking about? You feel that? How does his conqueror like how does it feel? Inspiring. Do you feel safe with it? It's balanced by the need for safety. Right.
it's so interesting you brought that up. Um, one of my greatest moments of release was Jen and I had we were laying in bed and we were just like talking, or we were having a moment, and all of a sudden, like, she holds me,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw in that moment essentially what my mom was searching for her whole life, was to just be held,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw that her pain came from not having her mom there to
Mm-hmm.
hold her.
But you didn't have your mother either, exactly. Not the way you
Not the
wanted.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing this up because when you said that, it just made me remember. I literally cried my eyeballs out in that moment
Wow.
because I realized, number one, it was like that was like the feminine wound in me.
Yeah.
It was like my grandmother carried like to
Yes.
my mom to me, and in that moment, I finally was able to like release it,
Uh-huh.
and I finally let Jen in, and I let her hold me, and I was probably like a little baby, like like just crying my eyeballs out, really, you know.
Wow.
But it was a big moment of, yeah, yeah,
Something
and it truly was a moment of like, oh my God, that's what I always wanted.
to be
I
held.
just wanted to be held.
To be
Yeah,
held. Yeah.
yeah.
And what do you remember? Like the tears were like there was a grief,
It's
like
like a
relief,
purging.
a purging.
Yeah, it was like a release.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Are there aspects of you that you are um afraid to show the world, or maybe that you even are afraid to acknowledge in yourself?
I think that's the one thing that like the world appreciates is, you know, I feel like I'm a pretty open book, and
Uh-huh.
as a matter of fact, I think that's the magic of Awaken, is that they feel free to be vulnerable because I'm vulnerable
You
with it.
yeah.
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 Yeah. I work really hard to be vulnerable because in my eyes, anything outside of you being vulnerable is somehow connected to fear. You know, you're
Mhm.
afraid to be seen, or to
Mhm.
show yourself.
Mhm.
And I work hard to confront that by just laying it all on the line,
Yeah.
basically. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're being really courageous now. I mean, you're just even showing up because you kind of know where I'm going to try to take it. And just so
Yeah, I got
anyone
hot there
who
for a second. I'm not gonna lie.
what's that?
I got hot for a
You
second.
got hot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you mean? Like what? Like what's hot?
No, no. When you brought up, what did he bring up? I don't know. Yeah, letting people in. I was like,
Oh,
ugh.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. When I
yeah,
said
yeah,
yeah, let me.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, another one of my, I don't know if it's a shadow, but I know it's a
Uh
thing.
huh.
I don't want to let people down.
Yeah. It's funny. I was thinking about that on
Yeah,
the way over.
yeah.
What's going to happen if you let people down?
They won't like me.
You won't be loved.
I won't be loved.
So if you let people down, you won't be loved.
Yeah,
That's another heavy burden that you have to carry.
yeah, I know.
So I can imagine why you would check out once in a while because you carry this heavy burden, and every once in a while you got to disassociate. You got to
Yeah,
like go somewhere to like give yourself some relief.
yeah, yeah. And I
You can
carry
let
this
me
burden.
down. But
I
just
carry.
feel, no, no, hold on, stay. Like just feel.
Yeah,
Like if we're friends,
yeah.
right? And I want you to know that if you let me down, it's okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Like it's okay. Like I think you if we're really friends, at some point you would let me down.
sure.
Like and I would let you like that's just
It's just
relationship.
relationship. Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting you're bringing this up right now
Uh-huh.
because that's one of my greatest struggles in relationship
Uh-huh.
is like once you let me down, like I let you out.
It's okay. So that's so the pressure on me if I'm in relationship
Yeah.
with you is like I can't
I'm
let
just
you
being honest, all
down.
right? I'm just being
Yeah, no,
completely
it's
honest.
great. If I
Completely
let you
honest.
down, I'm out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody else like that? So I don't feel alone. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because why?
Probably just safer that way.
You're safer that way. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's deep shit.
Yeah, I will just I'm gonna keep just saying things. This is how I do it often because it's like talking around it sometimes it keeps it in the head. But if I just say things and to see how it feels for you, and then you just can notice. But if I just say like I want to know you more, just notice how that feels. Like
I just got like I got awkward. Yeah.
Right? Like I want to know you more.
Yeah.
Like I want to know more about you, or like, well, I don't know. I was going to say, yeah, it's funny. There's things I want to say, but I can feel where, like, if I say, like, I want to get closer to you, but I don't want anything from you. Like, I don't want to put any pressure. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Yeah.
can feel where I hold back in relationship to you
Shit, maybe it's
because,
me.
well, maybe. I mean, if,
Yeah.
that's what I learned in the place where I'm not trusting, it creates a kind of a vibration where people
Mm.
will kind of ultimately like betray me
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
move away from me.
Yeah.
But I understand why. I mean, I relate to you here, and I think a lot of people here relate in their own way, like considering what happened to you. Because it's like I know there's a place where you have worked really hard to get through it, and I can still, there's more there. It's never, I guess, is what I came to through all the work that I did, because I went through this training and it was one thing after another, and I was 42 years old. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm like, I'm still fucking crazy. I'm what like when does this end? And I realized, like, oh no, it's just the acceptance that I'm imperfect, like that I have these wounds and they're gonna come up, and that I have to, just sort of keep an eye on them and be humble to it and not take myself out because I'm not perfect all the time.
This is very humbling.
Humbling
Very.
for you.
Yeah.
Why?
It just but it feels good. It
Uh-huh.
feels scary. It feels there's just a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like I'm becoming aware of a part of me that has been a story that I have been like creating and manifesting, that was a blind spot.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah.
How does that feel to the audience? Yeah. When he says that. It's so beautiful. It's so real. It's so human.
I think we're all gonna cuddle afterwards or something. I'm gonna let you guys in.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you.
That what you just did, and your willingness. That's,
But it's the truth.
yeah.
It's the truth. It's interesting because when you first started, I was like, my ego was like, "There's nothing there."
Uh-huh.
And then there's nothing. Oh shit, there's something there. And then like you can't, if there's any like benefit of this journey, like
Yeah.
is that once you're there, there's no
Yeah.
you gotta go find it.
Yes.
And I just realized it, and I gotta be honest with you. There's like I'm starting to see like I can name names of like guys
Yeah.
that like probably they let me down, and I just
Right. Yeah.
and they'll constantly be trying to like come back in my life, and I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
you let me down,
Right.
and now you're out.
Now you're out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in truth, I created it from the story and the energy within me.
Yeah. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
I know that's how it works. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you say this is how we started this conversation. You said
yeah,
everything is a mirror. Like your exterior world is just a
That's it.
reflection of your interior world. So
That's it.
if you're getting let down, or you have this story that you're getting let down on some level, that's a mirror for what's going on inside you, or something that's unresolved inside you.
Yeah, yeah.
Now what?
Fuck, I have to have friends and stuff.
Well, you'll have to let go of some control.
Yeah,
But your dad's coming.
yeah, but yeah.
Chicken coop.
Yeah.
You're literally building a guest house for your father.
I'm building a guest house. The download was he's
Well,
somehow going to eventually end up there.
yeah. But it is something. It is kind of magical. I mean, I felt that when we met the first time and we had that conversation. You were immediately like, you know, come out to my event, and there was a connection, and
Yeah.
and it's why. And then when I asked you to do this, you were like 1,000%. I'm
Yeah.
gonna. And I know you're a busy guy. I didn't know you were gonna say yes. And I guess that's like what I felt is like your higher self was saying yes to something.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? That's how like that's why I was willing to ask you these questions, because I felt like you had given me permission.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
on some level,
For sure.
and I appreciate it,
I appreciate you.
because I prefer sitting here than sitting there.
Yeah.
This is where this is like, I
It's
get to
your
stay in
comfy
control.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. This is wild, guys, because it's like a part of me just died, you know? Because once you become aware of it, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to crawl back in the hole? Or you're going to start to like work on it? You're going to start to like address it, you know?
I feel really protective of you
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, because you just what you said, and the vulnerability.
Yeah. It feels vulnerable.
Yeah, it feels really
But
vulnerable.
I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah, I know. And I feel really protective of you, and like, I know you don't need taken care of, but
You could take care of me. That's right.
well, but that I'm here
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
anytime.
Thank you.
And also,
You don't need anything.
yeah,
from me.
no pressure. Like, it's like, I don't, you don't have to
No,
do
I get that.
anything.
I
Like,
get
no
that.
demand.
I get that.
It's just that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I'm glad to know you.
Glad to know you. Yeah.
And is there anything else you need in this moment? Like, just to, I guess, to bring it into closure, or just to complete anything? Is there anything else you need to say, or?
It's interesting because I try to I find myself trying to make it a teaching moment,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, shut up and just like like do this for you, like allow this for
Yeah.
you for a moment. So
Yeah.
that I needed to say that I'm just like really letting this sit and sink in right now, because it was a blind spot for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.